Christina, I've started the recording of the demo, and thank you again for giving PrimePay the opportunity to win your business. And I'm gonna show you the different features that we can get involved with, from all the way from identifying and attracting key candidates through onboarding, and then ultimately paying them and managing them from a compliance standpoint. So just a little background, as we've mentioned, PrimePay is the largest privately held payroll company in America. We've been around since 1986, and we operate in all 50 states. We do have clients in your industry here in this area, and some as little as 30 or 40 employees, all the way up to 300 employee companies operating in multiple states. As you grow, we do, as we are talking just before you hung up the phone, we do have the opportunity to help you with the entire onboarding process, even applicant tracking. So we can provide you with uh, uh, the ability to post on a careers website, or even have a text to hire. And as I'm clicking through here, I was seeing if I had it, where you can provide a phone number to a potential candidate that would send them an application to their text message or email when they applied. And when they were to do that, they could literally apply straight from their phone. So the job description would be here. We can help you write that job description, and they simply click through the different pieces of the application. They can even link their LinkedIn profile or a Monster.com profile to this, so that a lot of the information for your candidate is already filled in. And as they are going through this process, they are also self-identifying if they would be eligible to help your company receive a tax credit through the Work Opportunity Tax Credit Program. And this is a credit that's available to employers. A lot of people don't take advantage of it because it is something that has to be identified during the application phase, and there's not really good mechanisms for doing that. So we built this into our applicant tracking piece, to where you can actually ask if they are a veteran or have been unemployed for a specific period of time, or they work in a or they live in a low income area. All of these are items that would allow you to receive a tax credit just for hiring this employee. So if that person answers to the affirmative of on any of those questions, you would actually get a notification, as I'll show you here, that says this particular employee, it would be available if you hire them, and a $2,400 tax credit would be available. PrimePay will actually do the due diligence to then help you complete the paperwork, track that employee throughout the year, and then file the necessary forms at the end of the year to receive that tax credit. So it's a really great program. It's built right into this system, and you don't really have to think about it. The other piece I'll mention, and the final piece I'll mention on this, is you are allowed to make hiring decisions based on the tax credit. So if you have two candidates, and they're exactly the same, and one of them has a tax credit and the other one doesn't, you are allowed to make a hiring decision based on the individual that has a tax. Within this process here, you can basically manage the entire application phase. So if I click into Maria, I can see I can look into her resume. I can look into everything about her availability, some of the way that she answers some of the questions. So I can see that in a snapshot here. Additionally, I can even email the candidates, schedule interviews, add additional people to this hiring process if I need to. So as you begin to grow, this is really going to help you to manage your candidates. One other thing about operating in the state of California is any new candidates, you're required, whether you hire them or not, to keep their resume on file for 24 months. This system will automatically electronically store that resume on your behalf, so that you're remaining compliant with California state law. You'll then be able to track the entire process for the candidate through here as well. So after we decide, yes, we'd like to make an offer to Maria, we can literally send out the offer letter directly from here. Now, this is just a canned offer letter, but we can customize this to your organization. So we can send this out to Maria. That goes directly to her email. And then from there, she's going to begin the new hire process. And on that new hire process, she's literally going to be able to start to fill out some of the information on her own. So she'll be able to go in, fill out her birthday, social security number, mailing address, emergency contact information. She'll be able to sign that offer letter. She'll be able to sign the employee handbook. She'll be able to fill out her W-4 forms, and then even complete her I-9 verification, to where she's coming in here determining that she is in fact a citizen. She can then actually add a document via taking a picture with her phone, whether that be a passport or a driver's license or social security card, whatever she's doing to complete the information. And then finally, she can even enter her own direct deposit information. So she's doing much of the onboarding herself. As we kind of track what is going on with Maria, we can track everything that's happening within the onboarding platform directly from our system here. So I can see, all right, she's filled out some of the information, but she hasn't gotten to the I-9 or the payroll information yet, and we haven't e-verified. So I can literally see where she is in the process and make sure that we're staying on track. You had asked a question about background screening. We absolutely can begin the background check information directly from here. We can request employment history, education, references. We can even set it up to where you are scheduling drug testing or additional screening programs through here. And you'll be able to see any documents that she has signed and downloaded into the system. For instance, her uploaded I-9 forms. Here's where I can manage what I'm seeing. So I can use a custom offer letter or one that PrimePay has completed on your behalf. I can manage what the employee has to go through while they are going through the process. So this is all customizable completely to whatever your requirements are. You can see here I can set up which level of background screening I'd like to take advantage of, whether it be full felony record search and drug testing, or just limited background check, whatever you'd like. So after the employee is hired, we're going to jump over into the payroll. So these do operate as two different systems to keep candidates and your actual employees separate. But when I jump over to the payroll, I have a single sign-on. Now, this is a web-based platform, so you can log in from any computer or smartphone that you'd like to use. And the first time you log in, it is two-factor authentication. So for your security, we have an extra level of authentication to make sure it's actually you logging in. We are dealing with bank accounts, social security numbers, and all the different information that employees are going to give us. So we want to make sure it's incredibly secure. In fact, we use SSAE Type 2 auditing which is a third-party auditing process to verify that our security features are up to date, and we pay for that audit every single year. As I jump into the payroll here, what you'll see from the very beginning is the dashboard. Now, this dashboard is basically your jumping off point for anything that you want to do within payroll. And you can see that I've actually have started a payroll. So one of the great features of our system is you can start a payroll, and then say something pops up, you need to jump on it. So you go, you leave, and you go take care of whatever urgent matter occurred. You can come right back in, and you don't lose your place in running payroll. So you can see that I've created some checks here, and then I'm actually in the payroll system. So if I go back into running payroll, it's going to take me right back to where I left off, which is really great. But just to kind of show you the whole process from start to finish, I'm going to go ahead and purge these out and start from the beginning. So now if we jump back into the dashboard, you'll see here that I haven't created any checks yet. So what I see now is I have an upcoming pay period for 7/31/2018. I have 9 active employees in my payroll at the moment, and I haven't created any checks at this point. So I'll get into that in a second, but what I do want to show you is a little bit of under the hood as far as the employer setup and managing the employees. So when you first onboard with us, we will literally take control of managing and the entire onboarding process. Now, we don't charge any implementation fees for setting up our payroll. We're going to bring over your company setup exactly the way you want it and with dedicated assistance. So you're going to have a dedicated team working with you to set up your payroll. Now you'll see in here, these are just basic setup information. If there's any shift differentials, for instance, if you have people working, if you have a 24-hour shift or somebody gets paid differently if they work an overnight shift, which may be the case in your industry, we can set up shift differentials directly from the company setup screen here. Also, we can set up different departments. So if you wanted to have your employees paid different departments, we can name these and code these whatever you'd like. So this is Department 100 operations. I could change this to security if I'd like. Additionally, jumping into earnings, we can have up to 99 different earnings codes, and we can code these again and name these with whatever naming convention you'd like. So instead of bonus, if I wanted to set this up as special event, uh, I can code that particular earning code and name that description whatever I'd like. One other thing I'd like to show in here is you do have the ability to set up multipliers or how it is handled from a tax standpoint, however you like. So if there's a certain time of year where you issue bonuses and you don't want the bonuses to be taxed at a high level, we can turn off or treat these where we tax these differently than we would a normal payroll. And then lastly, I'll show on the company setup side are the accruals. State of California, again, you're required to offer sick time to your employees and any vacation time that you do offer. You're not required to offer vacation, but any vacation time that you do offer, you're required to accrue it, print it on pay stubs, and then pay out any balances to the employee if should they leave the company for any reason. So making sure to have an airtight accrual policy tracked within payroll is incredibly important. We have the ability to really customize this however you like within our system. And again, we're doing most of all the input of this behind the scenes, but you always have the flexibility to go in here, look at it, make changes if you want on your side as well. This is a good opportunity to mention that when you partner with PrimePay, you always have the option to call us and ask us to do anything that you want for you. So if you want us to make a change after you've already started with us, you can call us up. You're going to talk to a PrimePay employee that's in the United States, and they will be able to have access directly into your system and make any changes necessary. Finally, before I process payroll, I want to show you a little bit on the employee side where you can do some specific configurations directly on the employee level. So if I jump into Paul Adams here, what I want to point out first of all is you'll notice that a lot of the features that we need, or a lot of the information we need on Paul Adams in order to process his payroll, which are these starred items, he would bring over himself through the onboarding phase. Now, again, during the setup, any existing employees, we're going to load those for you. Your existing employees would not need to go through that electronic onboarding that I showed you earlier. But any new employees, as they come on board, they're going to bring over their name, their social security number, their birth date, their hire date. All of that's going to come over themselves. So you're not sitting here having to key all this information in yourself. Again, you can treat taxes differently for an individual employee. So a lot of this they've brought over. So Paul had identified that he's married with 5 allowances that came over from electronic onboarding, and it's directly updated here. But you also have the ability to make changes as you like. And then setting up direct deposit accruals and deductions, you have that ability to set those up here as well. So if you ever add a health insurance plan or a 401k, then we can absolutely track that information for you as well. One thing unique to a health insurance plan, which we can help you with if you ever get to that point, is a lot of times this is set up as a Section 125 POP plan, where it is treated differently from a tax standpoint. So we would want to make sure that we set this up as a pre-tax deduction versus a post-tax deduction, which you can see here. This is set up for tax treatment as a Section 125 plan. So I'm going to jump back in and I'm going to process a payroll. And the great thing about processing a payroll with PrimePay is you can literally do it in 3 clicks. I'm going to take a little bit more to show you some of the features in the demo, but when you're running a normal payroll, it doesn't take that long to actually process a payroll. When I jump in here, I can come in if it's a standard payroll, if it's a payroll with that's nothing unique and it's just a regular pay period, I would create the checks. If it's ever a payroll that's an off-cycle payroll or a bonus payroll, and I want to make changes to it, say I want to shut off direct deposit because I want to issue a Christmas bonus and actually hand paychecks to the employees, I can go ahead and click in here to make changes, and I can turn off direct deposit for the entire payroll so that I can. It's going to print live checks, and it's going to. I can hand those checks to my employees as a special Christmas bonus. So I can make those changes right here without having to go back into the company setup, and it's only going to occur for this one run, and then go back to the normal defaulted setup. But in this case, we're just running the standard payroll. So I'm going to go ahead and create the checks. Now, immediately, what we'll notice is the salaried individuals are automatically brought in. So Christian Anderson and James Jones, their salary, their information is brought over, but everybody else is zero because these are hourly folks. So I need to enter the hours. Now, one of the ways we can do that is if they're working with one of our time clocks, then we can actually import that pay data directly from the time clocks. If they've been clocking in and out with our mobile app or however they're doing it, we can link that to here so that you just import the pay data and the hours automatically come over from the time clock. The other way to enter the hours is to go in and work through the payroll worksheet. So this works just like an Excel worksheet where I can go in and I can enter hours for each of the different pay codes for the employees so that they're automatically updated. And as I go in here, I can put in the different hours. But one of the things I noticed is Ellen Douglas actually received a raise this pay period that I forgot to enter. Now I don't want to go all the way back out to her employee record and make that change, so I'm just going to do it here. She's now making $37 an hour on her regular pay, so that's automatically going to update. And now I've made that change while I'm running payroll. I don't have to leave, come back in, and lose any progress that I've made. After I've entered the hours in for each of the employees, I go ahead and save that, and here now you'll see that I've populated uh, um, hours for the hourly folks. These individuals didn't work this pay period. One other thing I can do directly from here is I can actually jump right into the employee record from this screen, and again, I can make more customized changes. If I needed to add a deduction, we gave uh, Paul Adams here a loan for $100 his last payroll, so we need to take that back. So I'm going to add that deduction and save that. And now Paul Adams has got a $100 miscellaneous deduction for the loan we gave him in the middle of the pay period that's going to be removed from his pay stub this pay period. So after I've entered all the hours in and it looks good here, I calculate the payroll, and now I'm actually calculating the checks. I haven't submitted it yet, so you're still going to have the opportunity to make any changes if you notice anything as we begin to look at some of our pre-process reports. All I'm doing now is creating my gross and net breakdown. One of the things I'll be able to see here as it's creating the totals is I'll be able to start to see, okay, I have 154 total hours. Here's my gross payroll. Here are my total deductions. Here's what my Fed FICA liability on the employee side is. Okay, so this all starts to look good. It looks correct. I think I'm ready to process. And at that point, you hit accept and submit, and it sends it off to PrimePay, and now it's in our hands. And from there, we're going to create any paychecks. We're going to create the online pay statements for employees to go online and view payroll on payday, and we're going to initiate the direct deposit. So at that point, you're done with payroll. You've done everything you need to do, and it's in PrimePay's hands for us to pay employees, pay all the taxes, and make all the filings. The last thing I'll show you before we jump out of here is just some of the reporting that you'll see on the back end. Now, as this is loading, you'll notice that it popped over here to active sessions. One of the things that happens within our system is you don't have to have multiple tabs over. You can go back and forth between whatever active sessions you have, because it is single sign-on with us. Whatever products you have with us, you can toggle back and forth right from here without having to leave and stop what you were doing. I'm just going to show you a couple of reports, but the main one is this payroll journal. Now, the payroll journal is our basic report that shows you gross to net breakdown. You'll see James Jones here on a line item, gross to net breakdown. And here's his regular payroll. Here are his tax deductions. If he had any standard deductions, you would see those here. He doesn't. You can see Christian Anderson does. He's got a health plan, a 401k. Here's the 401k match. And then you'll see the net pay over here. On the second page, as it scrolls down, you'll see your company totals. So here's my company grand totals of earnings, deductions, total direct deposit, and total of any checks that were written. All of this is going to filter down and total up down here as well. So you'll see the employee withholdings, the employer liabilities, those are totaled. Those totals are here. This 2761, that's going to filter right over here along with the net pay to give you a total cash required for this payroll. So this is the amount of money that needs to be in the bank account to fund this payroll. Two other reports I want to show you actually. One of them is just a payroll tax summary. So one of the things that we do for you is, of course, pay your payroll taxes. And one of the things you want to verify, at least I would as a business owner, is to make sure that those payroll taxes are in fact being paid. So what we do for you is we provide a reporting every single pay period that shows you exactly what we're deducting and what we're depositing. So you'll see here, okay, they've deducted this amount. This is what's been paid year to date. Here's the date that the deposits were made. So they made a federal deposit on 5/13/2016 in the amount of $1,912.60. We also provide you with what's called an electronic funds number, or EFTPS, so that you can go onto the IRS website and verify that we actually made that tax deposit and that it matches. Again, we stand by what we do. If we make any errors or we don't make a tax deposit, it's up to PrimePay to make it right and pay any fines that are a result of that. We want to give you all the insight into what's happening for your business. And then lastly, I'll just show you the payroll timesheet, which is basically like our mini HR report, so that anytime you'll have some basic demographic information on all your employees. So again, here's Paul Adams. Here is his hire date. Here, last raise date. Here's his birth date. So you'll see a lot of information on him right here, as well as his filing status, any standard deductions that he has. So all of that information is on one page for you here. Now, as we wrap up, the last thing I'll talk about, I know compliance and staying compliant in the state of California is very important to you. We do have our HR advisory services as well, where I'm not going to go and dive directly into this, but this is an added level of service that we can provide for you, to where we are helping you keep up with all the California compliance related items, including and up to writing your handbooks for you, writing job descriptions, um, keeping you alerted of any law updates, any minimum wage updates, as well as providing over 200 training courses available to you. Some of them are compliance related, such as work site safety and sexual harassment training, and some of them are added trainings like active assailant training, which is a new one we added to our course catalog, where you actually can have your employees view a training on how to handle an active assailant within the workplace. So there's a lot of nice things that happen within the HR advisory services that we make available to you as an added value. One other big piece of this is you do get access to a HR consultant. So if you ever have any questions around how to handle an employee situation, or whether something is compliant within your policies, you can either use our live chat function or actually call one of our HR advisors and talk to them over the phone. So with that, I'm going to wrap up the recording, and I'm going to thank you again for your time and consideration. And after viewing this, if you'd like us to answer any other questions, please just let us know.